It's June 12, 2018. Hello and thanks for joining the Tuesday edition of Journalist Hangout. I'm Ayodele Ozubakun. It's a special day in Nigeria history that will be our focus. It is June 12 commemoration like no other since the election that shaped Nigeria history was annulled in 1993. But we're looking at it from a different perspective. Today on the program, Tinubu hosts Abiola's children, urges defeat of poverty to immortalize Abiola. I'll be hanging out with Babajide Kolade-Otitoju and Mayor Akipelu. So if you are ready, let the hangout start now. It's indeed the dawn of a new era and the beginning of new democratic dispensation in Nigeria. It is the resurrection of the June 12, 1993 presidential election, the day when Nigerians across divides spoke with one voice. After 25 years of blatant denial and attempt to bury the election, described as Nigeria's freest and fairest, President Muhammadu Buhari did justice to the saga. It declared the late MKO Abiola the true winner, and June 12, the new Democracy Day, a former investiture of Abiola with special national honor and Grand Commander of the Order of Federal Republic, GCFR, in Abuja, and celebrations in cities like Lagos, Abeokuta, Port Harcourt, and many others to commemorate the day have been conducted. Preparatory to that event, the national leader of the APC and one of the front runners in the struggle for the actualization of June 12, Bola Ahmed Tinubu hosted Abiola's family at the event in Lagos on Sunday. Tinubu said the best way to honor and immortalize Abiola is to eradicate poverty. Let's hear Tinubu out.
We've continued to struggle for this day, that this injustice must be corrected, to become part of our history too. And if we truly are Democrats, we must take the fulfillment of the date as a dream that must be realized. And that has come from a military man background, a man of military background, who is now truly committed to democratic principles and value. We must adopt now hope and farewell to poverty as the next crusade to continue to immortalize the beliefs and the value of MKO Abiola.
For all of those years, we've been in great distress because not only did we lose our father, we just began to wonder if it was all worth it, and see how many governments we've had from 1993 to date, and nobody saw it fit to do that which is right. May the Lord bless President Buhari for this singular honor that he has done this family. Okay, and that really is what we have come to see Asiwaju for, to thank him for the role that he's played in this whole saga, which is turned out to be a watershed made right, to thank him for standing in and standing firm and standing strong.
Wow. That's Lola Edewo, the first daughter of Bashorun Moshood Kashima Olawale Abiola. She used to be a member of the House of Representatives. And looking at, I listened to Red Drum today, that's Segun Mayegun, and he said at a point in time when Abiola was in detention, that Abacha and Bamayi called Abiola, and it was like, MKO Abiola will allow you to just go, fizzle out, but forget anything about June 12. Denounce June 12. Abiola, they said, Segun Mayegun said, Abiola responded as saying that that's what I'm living for. That's all I have is June 12. And today, the death of that man, 25 years after, wherever he is, and his children and everybody, it was that struggle worth it?
Yes, I think in the end it's worth it, because if Abiola had surrendered his mandate as they wanted, if he had signed off his mandate as Abacha wanted, because they actually made efforts to, as top Yoruba leaders tried to get him out of detention, Abacha made the point clear that he was not going to release him, only for him to
Start
the
this
next day
crusade.
to next day start the crusade, or try to restore his mandate. And of course, Abiola also wanted a situation in which, look, you will not abridge his freedom. So if you let him out of detention, you cannot seize his passport. It was part of the negotiations at that time, what was put forward. Well, there's no way Abacha will let Abiola keep his passport, because he also knew that Abiola had international connection. In fact, on the day they came to arrest him, once he was told that the police were in front of his house, that they were going to arrest him and take him to Abuja, the first person he called was Bill Clinton, and then he also called Gorbachev. So he had
Contacts as at
direct,
then.
yes, the direct line of world leaders. He could call them anytime. This was an internationally recognized Nigerian, one of the most famous persons alive at the time. So they knew that he had international contacts, and they were not going to release him to the point that he would now begin to push for the validation of that mandate. So clearly they knew what they were doing, and it's gratifying that the Afenifere, because I still know quite a lot of big Nigerian leaders who were accusing the Afenifere of pushing Abiola off the cliff, because they told Abiola that he should not give up that mandate.
Throughout.
Yes, and Abiola didn't just materialize into an activist with such a brave heart. People were around him, they had worked on him, they made sure that his stock is gone. Because look, at that point they told him this was no longer about you alone. It's about everyone, and people had been killed. Protesters had been killed on the streets of Lagos. So no, you should no longer see this mandate as belonging to only you. Think about the people who gave you the mandate. So they turned, Abiola transformed into a radical of monumental proportions that you could not now walk up to and say, give up your mandate at the point of death. Even with a gun to his neck, Abiola became that sort of person who was not ready to give up his mandate. And I think that at the end of the day, despite all that he went through, he died a hero, and today he's being honored. Sometimes unlikely events are made happen by unlikely people. Many Nigerians, they told them that it was Buhari who would honor Abiola in this way, they will have said no. People can say what they like, that, oh, he did it just to shape the politics of 2019. They can say what they like. But it stands as a fact of our history that Muhammadu Buhari has given Abiola this honor, and it will remain like that.
Mayor, President Muhammadu Buhari actually apologized, to Nigerians for the injustice to mark the dawn of a new democracy. And I read an interview that President, okay, I think let's just listen to President Muhammadu Buhari.
The June 12 that overcome our various divide, and the June 12 that produce unity and national cohesion. This is the June 12 we are celebrating today, and we will nurture it to our next generations. Accordingly, on behalf of the federal government, I tender the nation's apology to the family of late MKO Abiola, who got the highest votes, and to those that lost their loved ones in the course of June 12 struggle.
Struggle.
Mayor, this is unprecedented.
Not only that it's unprecedented, I think it's the biggest thing to ever happen in Nigerian political space.
The CNC on
Yes.
behalf of...
Because when the election was annulled, which was very unfair, those who did it felt they could do whatever they like, and there's nothing they could truncate democracy, and we just have to live with it.
With time, we'll forget
yes, it took 25 years. But for the president, who symbolizes the power of the Nigerian state, to apologize for the family of Abiola is something very historic. And like Gide said, sometimes Abiola saw somebody that was a very rich man, somebody that was, did a lot of business with government, somebody who was very close to the military
institution, yeah?
Yes, the military establishment. And somebody who, yes, he had a very poor background. He had a very poor background, but he had become a very rich man. If he was not the richest man in Nigeria, he was probably the most flamboyant. And he has started getting used to good life. For somebody like that to now represent the symbol of democracy and struggle in Nigeria is something that history will be very kind to him. I think if he had become president, he would not have had this kind of place in history. Because if 25 years after, your mandate is not only acknowledged, an apology from the Nigerian state is given to the family, is something that people who struggle with Abiola and members of his family should be very proud of.
Babajide, that means we've left that era of presumed winner of the June 12, 1993 election.
Yes.
This is a statement of fact and a confirmation that
has been
actually,
validated, yes.
in spite of the fact that it has not been declared officially, but the Nigerian state is accepting that, look, this man won this election, but it was robbed.
Yes, the people shamelessly use that phrase, presumed winner, are the mischief makers. Every decent human being, every decent Nigerian knows who won that election. Because even, despite the fact that the electoral body stopped the announcement at one stage, everyone eventually got the results. Newspapers, you know, released the results. And the results had been known state by state.
Yes.
So what is the point in saying presumed winner? It's just this our nature of not wanting to give honor to whom it is due. You know in your heart that is the winner, not presumed winner. So when I hear presumed winner, it irritates me to no end. You can't be saying presumed winner or somebody who won the election.
From the result I saw, 19 out of
He won 19
30
out of 30 states.
as at then.
He had 58% of the vote.
Bashir Tofa had
And
11 states.
You are saying presumed. Presumed how?
45%.
Even Bashir Tofa did not make any strong claim.
No, he can't.
He did not make any strong claim because he knew he was roundly beaten. Even in his hometown, he was beaten in front of his house at Gandu Albasa. He was beaten because I saw it. I covered the election. I interviewed him, Bashir Tofa. So, presumed winner, I do not want to see presumed winner again. I hope that I will not see, in a case of maybe infantile journalism, someone will put that phrase, the presumed winner of 1993 election. No, that has to be in the dustbin of history. This man won an election. Instead of giving him his mandate, we started saying, oh, presumed winner. Presume, Sibo. Presume Bawo now. He won the election. And the good thing is that the honor that he deserves is being given. It's been given. Sometimes people are greater in debt.
Yeah. Yeah.
With this, from all indications.
We've seen now that Abiola is greater in debt because we usually do not value people until we've lost them. Bob Marley sang a song that every day the bucket goes to the well. One day the bottom or the bucket will drop out. It is when it drops out that you know you can't draw water with it. We lost that man.
Value.
We lost that man, and we have not been able to replace that man. It's not everyone, when they tell you in your place of work, another place that nobody is indispensable, it's a lie from the pit of hell. There are people who are indispensable in our world. We've not been able to replace that man.
Come once in 1,000 years.
He was the patron of sports writers.
Yeah.
Not just in Nigeria, African Sports Journalists Union, ASJU, he was their patron.
Yeah.
Everywhere, if a market caught fire in Gombe, Abiola would send money. I was happy, you know, Olu Akerele, he was the one, all the major clerics in the north, Abiola was giving them zakat. The clerics in the north, far away, you know, when Afsa said that thing that he loved everyone, that was what came to my mind. Even clerics that he never saw with his eyes, he sent Olu Akerele. Olu Akerele will be the one to go and deliver zakat at their door.
Even universities.
Universities, all the tertiary institutions in Nigeria, in one day, Abiola gave each of them 1 million naira. Show me.
At that time.
Yeah.
Yes.
The value of money.
Let me tell you, we may have people who have money, who are richer than him now. But being rich and having the capacity to dispense goodwill and even mercy, and do not mean the same thing. Some people may have all the money in the world, but they can't show mercy.
Never.
They will see people dying. Maybe those people need just 5,000 naira to be brought back to life. They will be reluctant to give. So his immense generosity means that up till now, we've not been able to replace him. I was telling someone about Olunloyo, the former governor of
Oyo State,
who was driving along Lagos Road on a rickety vehicle, and Abiola was going to watch the final of the Challenge Cup in 1985. He was going to watch the final of the Challenge Cup.
Was one of Abiola babes.
He was so he saw him in the hold up. He saw him. He said, why? He immediately told his driver to stop, and he called Olunloyo, and he told him, you shouldn't be driving this kind of car. And Abiola delivered another car to him. His capacity to show mercy to people, to show generosity to people is just spontaneous. It's just spontaneous. That's why some people, they tell you that if I see Abiola, honestly, I know that my sorrows have come to an end. Because that was what he typified, that was what he represented. Extreme generosity. Generosity bordering on the extreme. You know, it's not, it looks strange to be saying generosity bordering on the extreme. But this was what this man was doing. Because his generosity knew no boundary. Beyond Nigeria, he was showing generosity. You know, Abiola actually brought Yoweri Museveni to power in Uganda. Yeah. He was that strong that he was even financing struggles, freedom fighters in countries outside Nigeria. So we will never know the true worth of a man until we lost him. This was a really special and real Nigerian that we have lost.
Okay, let's take this quick break now, and when we return, we'll talk more about June 12th. It's still Journalist Hangout. We'll be right back after this time out. Stay with us. June 12th, 2018. That name, that day, we continue to ring the bell. But this time next year, it's going to be a public holiday.
Yes.
Mayor, Olusegun Obasanjo between 1999 to 2007 is from Ogun State. He's an Egba man. And he failed and he refused all through to mention anything. It took a Jonathan Ebele to even propose something that's some years after June 12th. But Obasanjo kept quiet.
Yeah, I think it has to do with if you Obasanjo, Abiola, and Fela, Wole Soyinka, all of them were in school about the same time in Abeokuta. I may be wrong, but I think Obasanjo has one weakness. He likes to dominate a space. He likes to be more important than anybody around him. So if you remember that when at the beginning of the struggle for June 12, Obasanjo said Abiola is not the messiah that we need. And he seems to have this, if not hatred, this nonchalant attitude towards Abiola. And I think that was a very grave mistake on his part, because without Abiola dying for June 12, Obasanjo would not have become president. Because it was because of the struggle of June 12 and how the country was not moving forward. The military junta at that time felt, for us to move forward, let's concede power to these Southwest people that are giving us problems. But they wanted somebody that is one of their own.
Yes.
And that was why they brought him out from prison and made him president. Initially, when they told him, even himself didn't believe it. He was asking, how many presidents do you want to make of me? And if you remember, Southwest people, because they felt, no, this is not what we bargained for. They considered, for the first time in Nigeria, the two major parties deliberately picked Yoruba's candidates. And most Yoruba people supported Falaye. The Southwest supported Falaye.
Overwhelming majority.
Overwhelming majority. They didn't vote for him, even in Abeokuta, even in his local government. But because he had support from all the other places. So if it was because Abiola died for June 12, that was why the rest of the country magnanimously decided to concede the presidency to the Southwest. And then the power brokers now picked him to become president. So somebody who wants to be fair will have realized that without the sacrifice, the ultimate sacrifice of this man, I wouldn't have become president. But like I said, because he didn't want a situation where Abiola will be overshadowing or as important as him, he deliberately ignored that fact. And tried to play it down, to play it down. And he never, throughout the 8 years, wanted to talk about it. Jonathan made a mistake. Jonathan was fair, but Jonathan went about it in a wrong way. You understand?
He got it wrong. Jide, before we move forward here, when you look at this, we add to the mystery of General Babangida because he's still alive. When you look at June 12 being declared as a public holiday every year, till now Babangida has not told us why he annulled June 12. I know he's a journalist Hangout fan. Why he annulled that election, he has not told us. He has not explained to Nigerians. He has not written a book to say the circumstances, and I don't think he has apologized publicly to Nigerians the way the CNC just did now.
You see, Babangida may not have directly spoken to us, but through some of the people around him, he has found a way to get word out that this was what happened. A few books have been written about what happened at that time, and one of them by one of the professors very close to him.
Omomori.
Yes.
Who was his think tank?
Yes, he was. He used to write Babangida speeches, you know. So, including his famous step aside speech. So he was close to him. I believe the account of that man. And his son, Mohammed, granted an interview in the late 90s where he explained the circumstances behind the annulment of June 12, that Buhari, IBB was surrounded by generals who said, do not hand over to this man. And some of those things, you've had people like Colonel Dangiwa Umar also come out to echo the same thing, because Dangiwa Umar was in the army. He lost his commission because of that. They first detained him, and eventually they kicked him out of the army because he kept insisting, look, this we must do what is right. This man won an election.
Even Williams.
All of the claims that they were making that, oh, Abiola was a military contractor and they were owing him so much, tons of money. If they decided to let him, to give him that mandate, the first thing he would do would be to go and pay himself. And Colonel Umar said, if his claims were legitimate, then the Nigerian state must pay. So he didn't even see that as an excuse. You can't come and tell us, oh, he was supplying stuff in ECOMOG, we are owing him so much. If he became president, he will go and pay himself. If he legitimately executed contracts, then you must pay. You must pay. So in my view, why Buhari did it, I already know why Buhari did it. Why IBB did it. I don't know why. Maybe Buhari has become so popular now that his name keeps shooting out of my mouth. Why IBB did it, we already know. Even if he goes into his grave now without writing any book, we know why he did it. Other people extremely close to him, how many people will be closer to him than his son? And his son granted that interview and said it. Fearless boy, Mohammed, he said it. That they said, look, that even his father's life was at stake.
Yes,
and that they said they were going to kill Abiola in the end.
Yes.
Okay, if we insist, we'll kill him. And he didn't want him to die. You know? So, let him not talk about it. We know why he did it. We just hope that it will never happen again in our history. If I was the president, the first thing I would have said, I would have first apologized on behalf of the armed forces, not just on behalf of Nigerians. Nigerians had no grudge against Abiola. Nigerians didn't hurt Abiola. The army took that, the military took that decision. And IBB was representing the military.
But it was also representing the government.
It was a military head of state.
Head of state, yeah.
The civilians on their own could not have said, no, don't hand over to Abiola. No.
Yeah.
It was the military.
It was the military, yes.
The same military, several times they came up with transition program that they did not really want to see succeed. And at the end of it, they cancelled the election.
All right, moving on now. Many people have stories to tell of their experiences about June 12 and its fallouts. Babajide Kolade-Otitoju actually was in the thick of it, and he shares his own experience.
I feel usually very happy whenever we celebrate June 12 because it reminds me of, especially of what transpired on that day and the days leading to the election itself. I remember interviewing Bashir Tofa in his house at Gandu Albasa in Zoo Road, Kano. I remember at that time I was accompanied to do the interview by one of my senior colleagues, Ike Okonta. Ike Okonta traveled down from Lagos to join me conducting the interview. But he let me do the entire interview, knowing that I was the reporter on ground. Though very young at that time, he gave me the encouragement and I conducted the entire interview. And at that time, it was rare for Bashir Tofa to grant an interview, so we scored a first. Many of us didn't believe that Abiola would win the election because we felt that it was a mistake to have two Muslims on the ballot. In the polling unit located opposite Bashir Tofa's residence, palatial residence, Abiola carried the day. And then we went around the city of Kano and we saw that it was the same pattern. The inglorious decision to cancel the election, to annul the election, divided Nigeria because ultimately the same people who annulled the election began to turn Nigerians against one another, divide and rule. They started creating what you call Southern Nopeng and Northern Nopeng, creating factions in major national institutions and having one for North, one for South. I remember even NANS, the National Association of Nigerian Students, was also deliberately factionalized by these selfish leaders. At that time, that we were also, all our directors were declared wanted. Some of them fled to America, you know. And some of us vowed that we would never leave this country. My editor, Kunle Ajibade, was arrested for a story that I anchored, and they came for me. At that time, we had our office at Tejumala House, but I was lucky. I got to the office shortly after they came for me. So that same day, I called my younger sister who was working with Magnum Trust Bank at that time. I said, see, raise money for me. I want to go back to the north. Now I went back to the north, stayed one day in Kano. When I got to Kano, I discovered that they had also gone to my office to look for me. And my secretary lied to them. They lied to my secretary that we were drinking pals, but they dropped their card. So we analyzed the card. We got experience to analyze the card that they dropped, and we saw that that card with the colors showed that they belonged to the military police. So that day, I made up my mind that I would leave Kano. But somehow, as a young boy, I felt, why should I leave Kano? I waited. I waited a little bit. And they were back in that office. But there were two of us in the outer office. There are 2 rooms. The other room, we used to put our unsold copies. There were 2 of us in the outer office. Myself and Olaiwola Adeniji, who used to work for the Guardian. But after Guardian was proscribed, some of them joined our publication just to make ends meet. So they didn't want to arrest a different person. So they asked the same people who had lied to my secretary that we were drinking pals. Now asked, I moved into the inner office, and that inner office has a door that leads into the expansive Yankura market in Kano. So I went into Yankura market in Kano, and from there I went to Jos, where I hid for 3 months. Journalists were hounded, newspapers were proscribed. After the news came up with the edition titled Conspiracy. Conspiracy at that time, we were talking about the plan. We saw the plan to annul the election early. So they began to hunt us. They began to look for us. Once that annulment took place and we followed it up with another cover story, they began to go to the printing press. We were printing at Academy Press at that time. They will go there and seize all the editions for the week. If they do that to you 2 or 3 times, the quantum of money that you lose, will show clearly to you that you cannot continue along that path. So we switched to tabloid format and came up with another magazine that we had registered, because they anticipated it. So they registered like 5 publications, so that if we proscribe this, we'll come up with another. So the news actually pioneered guerrilla journalism. And then Tell magazine also joined us by publishing Dateline, because Dateline was also in tabloid form, so it was easy to publish those magazines in tabloid form and escape the detection of security agencies who were aware of the location of all the printing presses where magazines in that form could be published. June 12 has shown us that it is possible. It is possible that a better Nigeria, a Nigeria in which you and I can truly see ourselves as brothers, a Nigeria where we can truly see ourselves as united people, is possible. June 12 has shown us that it is possible.
Maestro himself, Babajide Kolade-Otitoju, narrating his own June 12 experience. Mayor, where were you?
Yeah, yes, yes, I was involved in it too. Because we were involved with Abiola's election because Dele Momodu was very close to him, and we used to go there. We were involved in Up 93 too, and when the struggle started, like he said, it affected everybody. We were also publishing. Then you can't afford to stay in your office. We were also publishing in tabloid form. Along the line, I was detained in Kirikiri at a time. There was a time when MKO used to run after everybody. MKO was one madman that was in the Directorate of Military Intelligence in Apapa at that time. There was a time like I used to live in the same house with Dele then in Adigboduja in Ojodu. I was living in the flat downstairs. Dele was living upstairs. There was a time during June 12 that I was going to Apapa and my car was vandalized. And, street urchins along that very close to Ichesha bus stop. And I was really upset that we are fighting for June 12 and yet we are being punished for that. There was another time that I was living, then when I moved from there, there was a time at Gobi, we were doing this aluta and we were protesting the street and I was trying to cover it. And unfortunately, we almost lost my life because there was some soldiers, I think they were going to Lebanon or something at that time, and there was bonfire on that Ikorodu road, so they needed to clear, and they were shooting and trying to clear everything. Yes, but like he said, June 12 proved a lot of things, that it is politicians that divide us in this country. We don't really have problems with ourselves. Either Hausa, Fulani, Yoruba, or Igbo, we don't really have problems with ourselves. It is some politicians, because of their selfish interests, that try to divide us. That's the only way they can use to divide us, because now we have a major block of Christianity and Islam and religion using in politics. It was
never a factor.
But during June 12, the presidential candidate and the running mate were Muslims, and Muslim ticket, and nobody really bothered about it. Like he said, he covered Kano, and a Yoruba man, Abiola, won in Kano. Yes, Bashir Tofa in Kano.
Can that ever happen now?
No, it's because, that's what I'm saying. June 12 proved to us that Nigerians don't really have problems with themselves. It's some people that create that division to be able to achieve their own purpose.
Okay, let me quickly take Monday calling from Edo State. Thank you for joining us, Monday. Monday, are you there?
I'm still there, brother.
All right, please go ahead with your contribution, Monday.
Good evening, gentlemen.
Good evening, Monday.
Thank you very much, gentlemen.
I can barely hear this connection. This connection is not. Babajide, you were trying to talk about how you escaped when they came to look for you.
I was surprised that that part was not in that clip, and it really makes the story look like a story without an end. When they asked there were two tables in the front office, in my office in Kano, Galadima Road in Kano. One of those tables was being used by Laiwola Adeniji, who joined me. There was a guardian staff on the arts section of the Guardian. So they didn't want to arrest the wrong person. So they leaned on, I was looking at them with the corner of my eye, peripheral vision. They asked my secretary, Roslyn Jeliku, Shinewona. Roslyn now remembered that they were the same people who came and claimed that we were drinking pals. So Roslyn sensed at that time that trouble was on the way. So Roslyn said, Bashibane.
What's the meaning?
What's that?
Meaning it's not the one. So the moment...
Is it the one?
Is he the one? Shinewona? Is this him? As the literal translation now, so is this him?
You're drinking pal. You don't know you're drinking pal.
And there was another person, you know? So once I had that, and she said, Shinewona, they continued to talk in low tones, but I was not going to listen to them. I opened the inner office, and that inner office has a door at the back that leads into the Yankura market in Kano. The Yankura market is a very big market. So as I just melted into Yankura market, I told myself, I said, the next time you see me is in Jos. So I remained in Jos for 3 months. And I continued to write stories. My bosses said, stop writing. I said, I will write. Kayode Olawuyi was our news editor. That you remember Kayode Olawuyi, who later became Saturday editor of Punch. So he nicknamed me the reporter at large, because even from Jos, I will file stories with a pseudonym. I will not put my name. I will go and watch football matches. I will write report. I said, why should I, a young man under 30, run away from Nigeria because of soldiers? So I continued to file stories. And I was in Jos when eventually the military tribunal passed that verdict. And they jailed my editor, jailed Obasanjo, and jailed my editor, Kunle Ajibade. So the moment after they jailed them, I said, at least by now, I can return to Kano. So I returned to Kano, and at least I had peace.
Wole Soyinka actually said Nigeria need to remember many nameless and unsung heroes of June 12 struggle. You know, he accepted the president's apology on behalf of Nigeria, and there are some guys too that, you know, they weren't given honor there today, as in, you know, but we know them.
So many of them.
So many.
Yeah.
Olisa Agbakoba,
yes.
Yes.
Olusegun Mayegun.
Because these are, yes, even Bagalda Kalto.
Yeah.
Even
Paid
Bagalda
the ultimate prize.
Yes.
Yes, even Bagalda
There were
Kalto.
3 of us in the northern zone.
You see, what I will excuse the government, because you see, when you want to do things like this, sometimes you cannot remember everybody.
Okay, Mayor, let me quickly take Ayo. Ayo is calling from Osun. Namesake, hi.
Good afternoon. How are you, sir?
Yes,
You're
happy
fine.
celebration, happy Democracy Day.
Happy Democracy Day to you, sir. Babajide, I want to appreciate you for
Thank
what you are doing for our country. You are contributing immensely for nation development.
Thank you
I
so
used
much.
to watch this program almost every day, and your contribution I so much cherish and like.
Thank you.
The declaration of June 12 as a Democracy Day has vindicated the Nigerian masses. It is a victory for the Nigerian masses. The obscure Nigerians who suffered so much in the course of the actualization of June 12. Many Nigerians are maimed, some were killed, some lost properties, some even lost families. See, it is a victory for us. For 16 years, we've been advocating during PDP regime that this thing should be done. But thank God it is done. It's not a victory for the Abiola family alone. It's a victory for the Nigerian masses. The masses who fought the military.
Thank you, Ayo. You were making a point, bro.
Yes, like, okay, for example, there's a man that is late now, Prince of Hope, who Adeni, who was jailed in Kano. Not only that was jailed in Kano. When Abiola, you know, there was a time before Abiola was arrested.
No, it was Kaduna.
He was jailed in Kaduna. Then there was a time Abiola was before Abiola was arrested that night. You know, he was the one that planned the Ekpetado declaration,
yes.
and they were the one that kept Abiola for some time. You know, so there are a lot of people like that.
Some people even came there today to Abiola's house. A man had his leg amputated.
Yeah, and there are a lot of people that we don't really know their names that were killed during protests and all that.
Yes.
So they were all heroes of June 12. Yeah, June 12.
all of them.
Yes,
June 12 heroes.
Ubani, yes.
Yes, Ubani, yes. So we cannot, yes, there are a lot of heroes for this, because you see, when there's a struggle, there are some people that you have to water the struggle with their sacrifice, with their ultimate sacrifice. And we have to remember all of them. But like I said, it's not possible for government to recognize everybody at once. Yes.
Your boss, Kunle Ajibade, is even still carrying that cross because he wasn't given official pardon. till today.
Yeah, yes, that was what Obasanjo should have pardoned everybody, because all we were trying to do at that time was ensure that he didn't go to jail.
Yeah.
But in the end, he got a pardon for himself, and other people went to jail with
They
him.
were in jail together.
In 1995, he didn't bother to have their jail terms reversed, you know. So it's unfortunate. And talking about people not being recognized, I think that Kola Abiola has his work cut out for him, because I can confirm that many members of Abiola family are not happy today, because the Secretary of the Government of the Federation, Boss Mustafa, decreed that only 10 of Abiola's children will be officially welcomed into the arena, and only one of his wives. By Abiola's will that was read in 1998, Abiola officially had 26 wives.
26.
And 77 children.
Wow.
But I know,
yes.
I know that he had more wives than 26.
Yeah. More children.
And he had more children than 77.
77.
So, yes. Yeah. And so, because there were women who were not listed in that will, who had even been Abiola's wife for many years. They were not listed. You know, some of his younger wives featured on the list. You know? So, for those people, they've been in pains for 25 years, struggling to take care of their children on their own without support, you know, managing to just make ends meet, because help will not come from anywhere. And then on a day like this that they felt at least they could have been honored. It didn't happen. I would have expected that at least more than 10 of the children, I would have expected that they would have allowed at least more than 10 of the children and more than one wife.
I consider that.
More than one wife.
I consider that.
More than one wife. We know some of his wives, beyond the DBC, we know some of his even prominent wives who were not officially allowed.
Abiola wasn't there?
Was in Lagos. She
attended. Once they made it clear,
it's only one that
once they said
she attended the.
Once they said that only one wife.
First female editor in Nigeria.
Yes, and with a PhD, you know.
Yeah, I think it was a mistake too. Yes, I agree, because yes, I mean, because of logistics and all that, but it doesn't. The government have the capacity to
take more than 10,
take more than them, and then
to
for them to be around to be able to honor them.
Okay, somebody called the Yoruba people sophisticated morons, you know, saying, what is it for you? As in, a lot of people are asking, okay, you are celebrating June 12, you are celebrating Abiola, you are celebrating this thing. How does that put food on my table? Bottom line, Babajide.
It's not, we do not live in this world to simply eat. So when people end up every discussion with how does he bring it, they diminish themselves. They show themselves as cheap people. If all your life you just think about food, the people who go into space, those space scientists, they don't spend all their life just thinking about food. They don't think that food is the measure of our existence. Food will never be the measure of our existence in this world. Food will never be the measure of our existence. So people who round up everything at how does it bring food to our table, we need to pity them. We don't need to abuse them. We really need to pity them, because there are people who really deserve pity. If all you think about is just food, you know? So it makes no sense. We have arrived at this stage. It's a Yoruba man who is the beneficiary, or it could be an Igbo man tomorrow.
Yeah.
By what has happened, Nigerians have shown that, look, this is wrong. Don't do it to anybody in future.
Because now
it's an injustice against someone.
To come and say,
it has taken a Daura man to correct the injustice.
Because those who voted for him, that
it's injustice against everyone.
Yes.
So it's not, the injustice is not just for an Igbo man, and it wasn't simply a Yoruba struggle. So I don't want to talk about a statement that
we should not even,
that someone made in a fit of dementia. I don't want to talk about
we
it.
should not.
We should not.
Okay.
People can wake up on the wrong side of the bed and say all kinds
say
of things
crap, yes.
that they regret later. So
Yes.
no need abusing that
Don't let
person.
us-
Let's
don't let
even
us
pity the
even-
person.
Anima Shaun is calling us from Kwara State. Hello. Hello.
Hello.
Yes, Anima Shaun, please, quickly, my time is fast spent.
What did you say?
Go ahead with your contribution.
Okay, thank you very much. I want to commend Kolade-Otitoju, and I also want to remind him that he forgot to mention that he was actually chased by the security men who came for him. According to Wale Adebanwu in his book, they chased him, and he gave them. He was able to escape. But more importantly, this occasion is telling us that beyond being a dream, Nigeria can be a reality. And I think journalists like you should be commended, and if it's possible, to organize maybe 2 editions where you and Ajibade will come, so that those of us and younger elements who were not matured then will be able to have a feel of what it was to combat power without anything.
Thank you for your contribution, Anima Shaun. Those people that are saying, President Muhammadu Buhari, why this time? You've been there for 3.5 years. Why is this time? It's 9 months to the election. This is for cheap political votes to win the Southwest because the Southwest is the battleground.
No, that is crap. Why is crap is that, one, if it is indeed an opportunity for him to cultivate Southwest votes, that is what politicians do.
Yes,
as a politician,
wrong
you are supposed to do things to be able to
make the electorate
cultivate
happy.
vote, to electorate happy. So that is not there. But what is important is that it is never late to do something that is good.
Better late than
Yes,
never.
it's not late to do something that is good. If somebody believes an injustice has been done and he thinks it is important, which we all of us agree that Abiola should be honored, I think history will be kind to President Muhammadu Buhari for doing that. Any other reasons or excuse professed by some people, as far as I'm concerned, is crap.
Jide?
Yes, I think we should ignore those who are saying all those things, because whether it is opportunism or not, life itself is about opportunities. The ones we take and the ones that we let go. So Buhari has taken an opportunity. If I was in his shoes and approaching an election 9 months from now, whatever I would do to win that election, I will do it. And the people who are saying that, if they find themselves in Buhari's position, they'll probably do even worse things. They'll do worse things. And like I said, this is not the last masterstroke that will come from the supertanker. They should expect it. Because Obasanjo, they have made up their minds. The current administration has made up his mind to demystify Obasanjo. He's done it in the past and believes that he can chase away any president. They want to show that, look, you will, on Buhari, you will not be able to do it. So whatever masterstroke they want to come up with the people around him, with the Tinubus of this world around him, Buhari feels secure. He will feel happy because he can look to the right, there is a good advisor. To the left, there is a good advisor. And behind him, there is probably even bigger advisor. So it's a win-win situation for the president. The man who was there for 8 years, why didn't he do it?
Thank you. We leave it at that. Happy Democracy Day.
Happy democracy.
Congratulations, Mayor.
Thank you.
And I want to say congratulations to Babajide for surviving those years.
Yes. May it not happen again.
Yeah. Happy Democracy Day, Nigerians, and that's it on Journalist Hangout today. Join us tomorrow for another interesting episode of the program. You can watch the repeat broadcast tonight at 11. You can also watch Journalist Hangout on our platforms showing on the screen. Catch us on YouTube at youtube.com/TVC News Nigeria. Our feedback channel is Journalist Hangout at tvc.com. I'm Ayodele Uzubakum. See you tomorrow. God bless Nigeria.